The distress call, the night shift at Station 7, was usually quiet. Lieutenant Mark Davis sat at his console, watching the endless stream of cosmic noise flow across his screen. He sipped cold coffee and yawned. Another boring night in deep space. Then the alarm screen. Mark jumped, spilling coffee across his desk. His screen flashed red. A signal. A real signal. Not random noise, but an actual transmission from somewhere in the dark. Commander Reed. Mark shouted into his comm. You need to see this, now. Within 2 minutes, Commander Jack Reed burst onto the bridge. His gray hair was messy, his uniform half-buttoned. He had been sleeping. What do we have? A distress call, sir. Mark's hands shook as he filtered the signal. Coming from the Kelvin sector. Jack's face went pale. The Kelvin sector? You're sure? Yes, sir. No mistake. Everyone called it the death zone. The Kelvin sector was a nightmare of space region, where gravity twisted, radiation storms raged, and temperatures could freeze metal or boil it within minutes. No sane species flew through it. Many had tried. Few came back. Play it, Jack ordered. The speakers crackled. Then a voice came through, weak and desperate, speaking in the common galactic language. This is the colony ship Hope's Light. We are dying. Asteroid strike. Hull breached. Systems failing. 50,000 souls aboard. Women, children, elderly. Life support critical. 48 hours remaining. Please, anyone, we beg you. Help us, the message repeated. Over and over. The same desperate plea. The bridge fell silent. Mark looked at his commander. Sir, what do we do? Jack's jaw tightened. Send it to Earth Command. Send it to Admiral Gray. Mark it urgent. And the Galactic Council? They'll get it too, Jack said quietly. Everyone monitoring this frequency will hear it. 12 hours later, the Galactic Council chambers buzzed with activity. Representatives from dozens of species gathered in the Great Hall. The bird-like avians ruffled their feathers nervously. The tall, thin traders whispered among themselves. The peaceful builders, who looked like walking crystals, chimed softly. The council leader, an ancient avian named Elder Voss, raised his wing for silence. We have all heard the distress call from Hope's Light. We must discuss our response. There can be no response, said High Trader Nix. His 4 eyes blinked rapidly. The Kelvin sector is death. Our ships cannot survive those conditions. Agreed, chimed a builder representative. Our scans show radiation levels 3 times the lethal limit. Gravity wells strong enough to crush our strongest hulls. Temperature fluctuations beyond our shield's capacity. 50,000 lives, said a young avian diplomat. Surely we can try to die? Elder Voss interrupted, his voice sad but firm. Send our crews to certain death? For what? A rescue mission that cannot succeed? The gentle ones knew the risks, said Nix coldly. They chose to fly near the Kelvin sector. Their mistake. Then we abandon them? The young diplomat asked. We acknowledge reality, Elder Voss said. We cannot help them. No one can. The Kelvin sector does not forgive. It does not show mercy. We can only pray their end comes quickly. The council voted. The result was unanimous. No rescue attempt would be made. On Earth, in the military command center, a different conversation was happening. Admiral Tom Gray stood before a holographic display of the Kelvin sector. He was a big man with scarred hands and tired eyes. He had seen 50 years of service. He had fought in wars, survived disasters, and buried good friends. Show me again, he said. Commander Jack Reed, now linked from Station 7, replayed the distress call. The desperate voice filled the room. When it finished, Tom was quiet for a long moment. His staff waited. They knew that look. The admiral was making a decision. "Prepare the fleet," Tom said finally. His second officer, Captain Lisa Park, stepped forward. "Sir, the Galactic Council has already voted. They declared the rescue impossible. The Kelvin Sector—" "I know what the Kelvin Sector is," Tom interrupted. His voice was calm, but hard as steel. "Prepare the fleet. 5 heavy cruisers. The Defiant leads. We leave in 6 hours. Sir, the radiation alone. Our ships were built to launch from Earth," Tom said. "They handle Earth's radiation belts, Earth's magnetic storms, Earth's atmosphere. We've flown through solar flares. We've worked in environments that would cook most alien species." He looked at his officers. "We're going." "But Admiral," another officer said, "why risk it? They're not even human." "The Council says." Tom Gray turned, his eyes fierce. "Because they called for help. Because 50,000 people are going to die. Because someone has to answer." He paused. "Because that's what we do." The room fell silent. Then Captain Lisa smiled. "I'll prep my crew, sir." "When do we launch?" "As soon as the volunteers are aboard." "Volunteers?" someone asked. "No one goes on a suicide mission under orders," Tom said. "This is volunteers only." Within 4 hours, every ship had triple the crew it needed. Humans lined up to go. Engineers, pilots, doctors, soldiers, all raising their hands. All saying the same thing: "I'll go." The Galactic Council watched in disbelief as 5 human warships powered up and turned toward the Kelvin Sector. "They're insane," Elder Voss whispered. "No," said an old builder, watching the display. "There's something else. Something we don't understand." The human fleet jumped to faster than light speed. They were racing against time. 40-8 hours until Hope's light died. The Deathworlders were coming. Asterisk through the fire. The Defiant shuddered as it entered the Kelvin Sector. Warning alarms blared across every console. The view screen showed a hellscape of twisted space and burning energy. "Radiation storm dead ahead," called out Officer Pete Williams from his station. "Levels hitting critical." "Shields to maximum," Admiral Gray ordered calmly. "All ships maintain formation." Across the galaxy, alien species watched through long-range sensors. They expected to see the human fleet torn apart within minutes. The Kelvin Sector had destroyed every ship that dared enter. These humans would be no different, but the humans were different. The radiation storm hit like a hammer. Energy waves that could cook flesh and melt circuits slammed into the fleet. The alien observers gasped. Surely this was the end. The human ships pushed forward. "Shields holding at 70%, Pete reported. His voice was steady despite the ship shaking around him. "Earth's radiation belts are worse than this," muttered a young engineer named Tom. He adjusted the shield harmonics without breaking a sweat. "Remember that training run through Jupiter's magnetosphere? Now that was rough." Admiral Gray allowed himself a small smile. These were Earth's children, born on a world that tried to kill them every day, raised under a sun that bombarded them with deadly radiation, trained in conditions that would terrify most alien species. The radiation storm was hell, but humans knew hell. They were born in it. The fleet emerged on the other side, all ships intact. On the Galactic Council station, Elder Voss stared at his screen in disbelief. "Impossible," he whispered. "Gravitational anomaly approaching," Pete called out. "It's a big one, Admiral." The gravity well appeared like a whirlpool in space. It pulled at the ships with crushing force. Normal vessels would be compressed into scrap metal. Even the mighty builder ships couldn't withstand such pressure. "All power to structural integrity fields," Gray ordered. "Engines to full." We pushed through. The ships groaned. Metal creaked. But they held. Human engineers had built these vessels to launch from Earth's crushing gravity. They had designed them to survive the pressure of deep oceans and the stress of atmospheric re-entry. The ships were over-engineered, heavily reinforced, built by a species that didn't trust easy solutions. Hull stress at 60%, reported Captain Lisa Park from the cruiser Guardian. But we're holding. We're actually holding. Of course we are, her co-pilot said with a grin. Earth builds tough. The temperature gauge swung wildly. 500 degrees on the port side. Negative 300 on starboard. The kind of swings that would shatter most materials. Freeze one side, boil the other, and watch the ship tear itself apart. But human ships had thermal systems designed for Earth's extremes. Deserts and Arctic, volcanoes and glaciers. The engineers had learned from a world of contradictions. Temperature management nominal, Tom reported. Systems adapting. No problem, sir. 6 hours into the Kelvin sector, the fleet picked up a signal. Weak, fading, but there. Contact. Pete shouted. Found them. Colony ship Hope's Light, bearing 270. All ships converge on those coordinates, Gray ordered. Let's bring them home. The Hope's Light was dying. The colony ship drifted, dark and broken. Hull breaches leaked precious air into the void. Inside, 50,000 gentle ones huddled in the remaining safe sections, waiting for death. They were a small species, barely 4 feet tall. Their skin was soft, their bones fragile. They came from a paradise world with gentle weather and easy living. They had never known hardship, never faced real danger, until now. Asterisk. Elder Kren, their leader, sat with the children, telling them old stories to keep them calm. He had given up hope hours ago. The Galactic Council had abandoned them. No one was coming. Then the sensors beeped. Elder Kren! A technician called out. Ships. 5 ships approaching. What? Kren rushed to the view screen. Who? The Council changed their minds? The technician's hands trembled. No, Elder. The signatures? They're human. Silence fell over the refugee section. Every gentle one knew about humans. The newcomers. The strange species from a death world. Rumors said they were dangerous, violent, born from a planet that tried to kill them. They came? Kren whispered. Through the Kelvin sector? They came for us? The human fleet pulled alongside the broken colony ship. Admiral Gray's face appeared on their view screen. He was scarred, tough-looking, with hard eyes. A warrior's face, but when he spoke, his voice was gentle. This is Admiral Tom Gray of the Earth Fleet. Hope's Light, we received your distress call. We're here to help. Hold on. We've got you. Elder Kren felt tears streaming down his face. You came. You actually came. Of course we came, Gray said, looking confused. You called for help. Within minutes, human engineers were scanning the colony ship. Officer Pete pulled up the damage reports and whistled low. Admiral, it's bad. Multiple hull breaches. Life support at 15%. And it's failing faster than predicted. How long? Gray asked. 36 hours. Maybe less. Gray's jaw tightened. Then we work fast. All crews prepare for immediate evacuation. Engineering teams suit up for external repairs. Let's move. Captain Lisa led the first team outside. She wore a heavy human environment suit built to handle Earth's most extreme conditions. The Kelvin sector's radiation washed over her. The temperature swings hit her suit like waves. She barely noticed. This is just like working in orbit, she said to her team. Stay focused. Stay smart. Let's save some lives. They worked on the hull, sealing breaches, stabilizing systems. Other species would have died in minutes in such conditions. Human engineers whistled while they worked, cracking jokes to stay calm. "Hey, Mike," Lisa called to her partner. "Remember that reactor repair in the Sahara? In August?" Mike laughed. "Yeah, this is cooler, literally." They worked for hours, racing against time, while inside the Hope's light, the Gentle Ones watched in amazement. "They're laughing," one whispered. "In the death zone, they're laughing." Elder Kren understood then. These humans weren't just tough. They were something the galaxy had never seen. They were survivors. And they had come to share that gift. The evacuation began. Asterisk the Death Worlder's creed. 20 hours into the rescue, the Defiance cargo bays were packed with refugees. Gentle Ones huddled together, wrapped in human blankets, drinking human water. They looked at their rescuers with wide eyes, still unable to believe they were alive. 42,000 evacuated, Pete reported. 8,000 remaining on Hope's Light. Status of the colony ship? Admiral Gray asked. "Failing fast, sir. The hull is collapsing. We have maybe 6 hours." Gray nodded. "Then we finish this. All hands, double time." Elder Kren approached the Admiral on the bridge. He looked tired but grateful. "Admiral Gray, we cannot thank you enough. You risked everything." "We're not done yet," Gray interrupted gently. "We're getting everyone out. There is one more thing," Kren said quietly. "Our data cores, our cultural archives, the history of our people, our art, our knowledge, everything we are. It's still aboard Hope's Light." "Where?" Gray asked immediately. "The Central Archive Chamber." "But Admiral, the ship is dying." "We cannot ask you to." "You're not asking," Gray said. "We're offering. Jack, take a team. Get those archives." Commander Jack Reed nodded. "On it, sir." "Admiral, no." Kren protested. "They are just things, objects, not worth your lives." Gray looked at the small alien leader. "They're your history, your identity. That makes them worth saving." Jack and 5 others boarded Hope's Light for the last time. The ship groaned around them, metal screaming as it tore apart. Warning lights flashed red. The gravity flickered on and off. "This whole thing is coming down," said Officer Emma Stone, checking her scanner. "We have 10 minutes, maybe. Then we run fast," Jack said. "Move!" They raced through collapsing corridors. Sparks rained down from broken cables. Sections sealed behind them as the ship automatically closed off dying areas. The archive chamber was deep inside, protected by heavy doors. "There." Jack pointed. "Emma, get those doors open." Emma worked on the controls while the ship shuddered. A massive groan echoed through the hull. Something big had just broken loose. 5 minutes, she said, sweat dripping down her face. Maybe less. The doors finally opened. Inside, crystalline data cores glowed softly on their shelves. The history of an entire species, preserved in light and memory. "Grab everything," Jack ordered. Fast and careful. They worked quickly, loading the precious cores into protected cases. The ship screamed around them. A section of ceiling collapsed in the next room. The floor tilted as the gravity systems died. "We need to go," Emma shouted. "Now!" They ran. The ship was tearing itself apart. Doors sealed randomly. Corridors collapsed. The path back to their shuttle kept disappearing. Alternate route. Jack called, checking his scanner. Through the cargo bay, they sprinted through the dying ship. Behind them, explosions echoed. The Hope's Light was entering its final moments. They reached the shuttle bay. Their small craft waited, engines running. But between them and safety, a massive piece of debris hung loose, swinging dangerously on broken cables. "We can make it," Jack said. Go, go. They ran. The debris swung down. Jack pushed Emma forward, but the falling metal caught his leg. He went down hard. Jack! Emma screamed. Go! Get the archives to safety. Jack shouted through gritted teeth. Not without you. Emma and two others grabbed Jack, pulling him free. His leg was crushed, bleeding badly. They dragged him to the shuttle as the ship exploded around them. The shuttle launched just as Hope's light tore in half. Fire blossomed in the void. They made it to the Defiant with seconds to spare. Jack was rushed to medical. The data cores were secured. Every single refugee was safe. All ships, Admiral Gray ordered, were leaving. Plot course for the nearest human station. Let's go home. The human fleet emerged from the Kelvin sector damaged, but intact. All 5 ships. All 50,000 refugees. 0 casualties. The Galactic Council watched in stunned silence. Impossible, Elder Voss whispered. No one survives the Kelvin sector. Humans did, said the old builder. And they brought everyone with them. Word spread across the galaxy. The impossible rescue. The Deathworlders who walked through hell and came back smiling. Species that had dismissed humanity as primitive. Newcomers suddenly paid attention. At the refugee settlement on Earth Station Alpha, Elder Kren addressed a gathering of species. The Galactic Council had come to witness, to understand. We called into the void, Kren said, his small voice amplified across the hall. We were dying, alone, forgotten. Every civilized species heard our plea. Every single one said no. They said rescue was impossible. He paused, looking at the humans standing quietly at the back. Then the humans heard us. They did not debate. They did not calculate odds. They simply came. Through radiation that should have killed them. Through gravity that should have crushed them. Through conditions that terrify the bravest among you. But why? Elder Voss asked. Why risk so much for strangers? Admiral Gray stepped forward. His leg was in a medical brace where the injury still healed. You want to know why? I'll tell you. Earth is a death world. Our sun blasts us with radiation. Our weather kills thousands yearly. Our oceans crush submarines. Our animals hunt us. Our bacteria fights us. Our very planet tries to kill us every single day. He looked around the room. We evolved in hell. We grew strong because we had no choice. We learned to help each other because alone we died. We built communities because unity was survival. We are dangerous, yes, but we chose to be dangerous to the right things. To threats. To cruelty. To those who would let children die because helping was too hard. The room was silent. You asked why we came, Gray continued. Because someone called for help. Because we could. Because that's what people do for each other. That's what humans do. Elder Kren wiped his eyes. The galaxy calls you Deathworlders. They fear you. But we know the truth. You are monsters born from a terrible world who chose to be heroes. You are the answer to prayers we thought no one heard. Across the galaxy, the word spread. Humanity, the species that answered. The Deathworlders with hearts. On the Defiant, Jack sat in his chair, leg healing, watching the stars. An alert beeped. Another distress signal. Somewhere in the dark, someone was calling for help. Pete looked at him. Sir? Jack smiled. Plot a course. Let's see who needs us. Behind him, the crew cheered. They were tired, injured, but they were ready, because that was what Deathworlders did. They answered the call. The end. Asterisk.